Hey everyone, welcome back to another video where a guy talks about a 20-year-old game that no one cares about. So, time controls, pretty useful, but some of them not so useful. But it's actually kind of interesting if you ask a normal person to rank the time controls. Someone who's played Blinx for maybe a few hours or even completed the game. It would look sort of like this, with fast forward being at the bottom and pause being at the top, which makes sense. Pause literally stops everything from moving, allowing you to get free hits or move across dangerous platforms with ease. Meanwhile, fast forward doubles the speed of everything in the game, which makes it more difficult to control Blinx, makes it harder to react, and you get a dinky little shield that cancels out your fast forward if you get hit. But for speedruns, it seems like our time control choices are the opposite. I asked everyone in the Blinx Core Discord about their opinion on the time controls, and what time controls were the most useful to them on a 1 to 5 scale. I was expecting the casual player base to have a ranking of pause and slow near the top, and the speedrunners to have fast forward and record at the top, but it was pretty cool that there was some slight variance in reasoning on some people's choices. Funny little fact, nobody ranked rewind as their least useful time control, and nobody ranked slow as their most useful time control. So for anyone that doesn't know what each time control does, here's a really quick explanation. So rewind will rewind all enemies and map triggers like doors opening and bridges collapsing. Fast forward doubles the speed of the game and gives you a force field that shields you from any damage source. Pause stops everything in time. Record creates a clone of Blinx that you control for the duration of the time control that will play out after it's ended, copying every action that you did. Any trash that was used by the clone will not use your trash. And slow will slow down the game's speed to 1/4 of the normal speed. Monsters, projectiles, and platforms are all affected by this. Okay, so now that we covered that, let's go over the speedrunning tier list. We'll start from the worst and rise to the best. So, what's the worst time control for speedrunning? Yeah, it's this one. Let me explain. With everything slowed down, this also includes monsters' animations. One of the biggest things in speedrunning is maximizing the efficiency of dealing with monsters. But if you use a slow and hit a monster that's not a killing blow, you're going to be waiting the full slow duration to get another hit. Now, in the old days, we actually used to use slow for dealing with the Juggernaut pieces in World 5. While it is acceptable to do so, there's a time control that does the same thing but faster. We'll get into that later. Now, slow isn't completely useless. It can be very useful to pick up in Forge of Hours if there aren't any pause controls available to you. Speaking of pause, guess what's coming up next? Pause suffers the same fate as slow. If you don't get the killing blow on a monster, you're going to be waiting even longer. New players tend to think that using a pause against some enemies is good, which sometimes it is, but other times, like the Water Spirit and the Combustosaur, they'll be sitting there scratching their heads. Using a slow instead of a pause is technically faster. For example, in 8-1 with the Golem pieces, Spiker and Typhoon, it'll be slightly faster since the animations of the monsters have advanced, but the chances of death increases slightly with the Tesla coils. Plus, there's a different strategy that we've come up recently with a Super Bomb and a pause combo. Not only is it safe, but also faster than a usual slow, with the cost of spending slightly more gold. Same thing with 8-2 and 8-3, but this time, both of them have no noticeable difference in time whether you use a pause or a slow. Both are equally as fast, but slow is slightly more dangerous. Next time control is... So why is rewind third on the tier list? When it comes to Golem pieces in Temple of Lost Time, using a rewind instead of a pause or a slow is much faster. When you hit a monster during a rewind, its flow of time goes back to normal, while the rewind is still active, maximizing time efficiency, acting sort of like a pseudo pause. Because if you activate a rewind and go into a room you haven't been in before, the monsters will sit in place because they have not seen you in the past. We don't use rewinds in Forge of Hours because there's no noticeable difference for speed. But again, the risk of dying has increased even more. There's also some cool chest money duping that you can do with rewinds. This is done by shooting a chest, collecting the gold, using a rewind, and then opening the chest again after the rewind has ended. Rewind is also good if you can make use of the environment, like in 2-3, 3-3, and 4-1. Fast forward actually brings a lot of use when it comes to a speedrun. Now, I won't beat around the bush, this shit is hard to use. Not only is the whole game 2 times speed, but there's a weird interaction where if you shoot in a straight line, the trash will sort of be shot wonky like. It seems to aim towards the left of Blinx, and we're not really too sure why. This does not get effective if you can lock onto enemies with Blinx. It does take some skill and getting used to, but once you can master it, it's very handy, especially in situations where you can use it to get to a goal gate, or if there's a lot of enemies that can be easily killed. The other really good use is the shield and super bomb combo. Want to kill a group of monsters in half a second? Fast forward can also be a very good clutch item if you're about to take damage. Now, for the number 1 best time control in the game, it's always going to be the green man, Record. Let me list off all the things that Record can do. You're an invincible clone, you can dupe any trash and item, you can super bomb monsters with ease, you can money dupe glitch time bosses, you can perform ATGs, and it also could be used as a pseudo pause. The amount of times we save so much gold because of Record is just insane. We're able to afford so many super bombs in the run because of Record, and it's also incredibly safe, because your clone can't take damage or die unless it falls off the edge. If there was one time control I could only use in a speedrun, it would be Record 100%. Oh, and in case anybody wanted to know, here's how many time controls we use in a single run. That's going to be the end for this video. Tell me what you think, and leave your thoughts on the time controls in the comments below. What's your favourite time control, and what's your least favourite time control? Also, I just want to say thank you for letting me pass 400 subscribers. I remember the first Blinx video I made, I was around 30 to 40 subscribers, as a very small percentage of my YouTube viewers know. And now we're about 10 times the number, so thank you very much. So at 500 subscribers, I think we'll do another Q&A. So when that comes out, I'll do a video, say, hey, we've hit 500 subscribers, ask me anything in the comment section, and I think that'll be the way to go. Anyway, it's time for me to head off. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.